I'm here with Bryan Clark, a director of ACT. Bryan, you've been pivotal in putting today's event together with ANZ. Talk about why today's event was so important to you to put on.
We have been interested in trade modernisation. I obviously worked for the Australian Chamber of Commerce for a long time, the International Chamber of Commerce, and then through the STS task force, where I was invited to be a strategic advisor. And so we wanted to continue on the momentum around what is changing. We'd done a series of webinars last year. I'd done my work with interns this year on looking at what a 21st century single window could look like. And so then the idea came up with ANZ to see could we turn this into a conference and give this a go and try to get some more momentum, get some of the key speakers together, shine a highlight on the Australians who are contributing to global standards developments, etc., and often voluntarily and unsung in their work, and so provide a platform. But ultimately, we're really trying to make sure that the ball keeps rolling down the hill the right way around trade modernisation, and the government's got support from industry for their activities. Hopefully they'll continue to invest in it. We've got great ideas and people who are prepared to share their ideas and their knowledge as well, so we can all advance more quickly.
Well, you had a lot of that today, a lot of people, obviously great panels, great lineup to, as you say, create those shared ideas, create more dialogue, more discussion, and really for government to watch and see what's possible out there for them to engage with as well.
There's an awful lot, and the private sector are pretty innovative. They're doing a lot of things, but they're also responding to what other governments are doing. A supply chain, of course, an international one, involves another party anyway, and so if Singapore's doing it, if Hong Kong's doing it, if London's doing it, then it's going to come back and affect us anyway. Yeah. So we may as well be in front of that system, try to identify what's going to be coming down the track and be prepared for it and possibly lead it. You know, in some sectors, as was pointed out today, iron ore sector is the most digitised sector in the world. Yeah. Well, we're good at that, and we should be good at a few other things, and why aren't we at the same level, you know, in our agricultural sector or our manufacturing sector? And of course it's imports as well, and all of those systems rely on imports in order to do their exports. You can't mine anything without an excavator, for example, and these things come together. So we will see and be forced into international supply chains, and as again some of the discussion today, the Europeans are thinking up more systems around digital product passports and other things, so that they can then monitor environmental goods and aspects of carbon management, for example, and that will flow through. So if the Australian companies involved with those supply chains have already adopted the system, how hard is it for us to do?
Well, and I think another point, I know that you asked a great question to Dr. Craig Emerson about some of this stuff's already in the FTA, so that we need to actually get ready for it because that wave's about to hit.
Well, that's one of the surprising things. They don't end up in the FTA the day before it gets signed. Yeah. There's a process of negotiations. DFAT were clearly aware of the presence of the model law of electronically transferable records, and yet there's no movement domestically to make sure we've got something that would implement that. And so that's a bit disappointing to see, but it's really positive to see the government's now reacted to doing that. But we have other things. So as was part of today's highlights too, there's the model law from the Commonwealth on digital assets. There is also a model law around digital ID. The global legal identifier system is a response from the G20 finance ministers. Well, Australia is part of that. Yeah. So it's not a secret, and yet we haven't put the building blocks together that says that international stimulus should have a domestic response. And connecting the dots a bit better. But you've got to be pleased that it's happening, and we've heard today around some of that, but can we as an industry support that to make sure that we're at the forefront when time's critical?
Well, what you've just said there, Bryan, really reinforces what I discussed with Prue earlier, is that whole role of a CT is to really show the industry, look, this is happening, one will help you get aware of it, will help you understand it, and how you can get further engaged. So congratulations to both of you and the team with the CT, because I think she's right, there is such a gap for companies and the businesses, the driving force around industry to really understand, one, what the government's doing, how we relate globally, where we sit, and then how a CT and organisations such as yours can really help them get on track with that.
Well, exactly. And one of the seminars we did last year online one of the presenters gave the quip, and I keep using it, where was no one will ask for something they don't know exists. And so it's part of the problem of consultation, as I said, when the government comes to industry, industry tells them what they know. It's very hard to get an innovative idea into that. And so if we can, play a small part in highlighting that there's actually some leading edge to this here and, exposing that to the conversation as well. So then we generate some interest in it and maybe, in a period of time, these things build some momentum because now somebody knows about it and they start to talk about it. And that's the role of a CD.
Yeah. And it's definitely a full house today, so congratulations. I think when Harry said we've probably got over 130 people, filled up the room, really exceeded expectations.
Well, yes, it became a problem at lunch. But we're really pleased with the way this has come together. All of the speakers who were very willing to be part of it. The guests were clearly then an interested audience in it. We can tick off the boxes as we're on to something here. And the next question is, well, what do we do now?
Exactly.
And so we've got to go back. Today's been a great success. I'm hoping that what we can do is develop a report from this. We'll engage with all of the speakers and try to move some things forward. And hopefully it was pretty interesting to some of the government representatives here too. And we'll be invited as well to have continuing conversations with them.
Well, I'm sure they will because they need to keep the momentum going. And as you said earlier, I think they really need to soak up what industry's saying as well and formulate how they can get that onto a global stage, just as that appetite, because it's happening anyway. They've got to get onto it quickly.
Yeah, and we've been really pleased to play a part in just highlighting what Australians are doing in this space. And it's happening not only in the trade space, but the finance space, other spaces too. And so let's not lose the opportunity, by thinking narrowly with some of these things. If it's already being done in one sector, perhaps we can easily transfer it to another one. We don't have to do a lot of investigation.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Bryan. I know that personally you're really so well respected as a driving force in trade modernisation across the board. So congratulations to that and all the work you and Prue do with the CT as well.
Terrific. Thanks very much, Lawrence.
Thanks, Bryan. Cheers.